That is James Mennie. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, I spent some time trying to decipher whether this tariff deal is on, off, whether there's a trade deal. Is it in? Is it out? What do we give up? And I'm not gotten anywhere on it. You got anything to add to this?
Nothing that I'm seeing, and in fact, I kind of felt my blood run cold when I saw the tweet from Donald Trump basically saying, oh, we're close to a deal, and I can tell you that American farmers will face absolutely no. Well, here's the thing, and so juxtapose that against a comment from the Canadian negotiator, Dominique Leblanc, that the supply management system will not be touched. There seems to be a contradiction there. Now, before we go any further, remember, everything Donald Trump says is a lie. Everything Donald Trump says is an exaggeration. Everything Donald Trump says is completely misinformed. That said, if he's right, someone in a few hours is going to have some explaining to do. And the real problem I'm finding here isn't so much a story about the negotiation as it is about Mark Carney's political future, because there is a lot riding on the line today, my friend. And you've seen it whenever, when you talk about, let's talk about, should we give some concessions to the U.S. if only to get talks moving? And you see the reaction from people, and that reaction is typical. It's elbows up all the time. They can bring back American booze if that's going to be part of the deal that's announced today. People are still not going to buy it. But the problem here, and I won't say that Mark Carney caused it, but he's certainly done nothing to dissuade it, is that whereas this is perhaps the most ultimate business deal you could ever think of, for most Canadians, and justifiably so, it is personal. Canadians do not like to be insulted by the people they're negotiating with. They don't like to be belittled or treated like a state in waiting. That is precisely what Trump has done. He's been trolling this country, quite frankly, for years now. So if the person who is set up against him comes back with what he claims is a good deal, and that deal is anything less than what a lot of people, what our heightened expectations are looking at, I'm not sure how well this is going to go for Mark Carney. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. And don't forget, he's a banker. He's also an excellent salesman. He can wrap something up and make it, make it sound like the best kind of, the fresh dessert, even though if you look at it, it doesn't smell too good. But the bottom line here is, if he can sell this deal to Canadians, then that's another bullet that he's dodged. But right now, everything sort of hangs on what we hear in the next few hours. And also the fact, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, also the fact that Donald Trump is absolutely untrustworthy and could change the entire dynamic while he's sitting on the toilet at 3 a.m. tomorrow with his Truth Social account. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Right now, there's talk of a deal. But as I always like to say, in matters like this, I'll believe it when I see it.
I brought this up when we had Julian Karagisi on, right? He's an economist. Donald Trump yesterday, not today, but yesterday when he first started tweeting about this, Jim, brought up Keystone XL, and all of us were sitting here scratching our heads going, where'd that come from and why?
Yeah. Listen, is it a matter of energy requirements? As I said yesterday, what the U.S. right now, what the people, the tech bros who basically own Donald Trump wants electricity for their data centers. Is it possible that Donald Trump wants to try and bring down the cost of gasoline that he's shot up with his ridiculous war in Iran? Maybe he thinks increasing supply is going to help that. I'm as baffled as you, Aaron. That came completely out of the blue. Oil pipelines were when we've talked about them, they were something that was supposed to buttress Canada's economy and not be directed to the U.S., be directed to other markets. So to hear him say this, but once again, Aaron, and I hate to put it this way, it's a great line I learned when I covered courts, is you have to consider the witness's state of mind when that comment was made. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we'll have to wait and see, buddy. Honest to God, I'll admit it, I don't have a clue what he was talking about on that. The farmers, I get it. It's become painfully clear that Donald Trump has done more to screw over American farmers than perhaps any other president in history. They have been the subject of at least 2 major bailouts in as many years because of his policies. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as I say, as always, when it's with Donald Trump, you really have no idea what is actually going on, because ultimately the guy who's pulling all the strings, Trump, doesn't have any idea of what's going on.
So for those, by the way, who are not following, it's a 3-day reprieve. We find out by Saturday at midnight.
Yeah.
That's the new deadline. Whether the final details, whatever they may happen to be, have all been sort of, the I's dotted and the T's crossed. I did hear, Jim, and I found this interesting, and maybe I'm wrong here, with respect to, the dotted I's and crossed T's. Donald Trump doesn't have to sell this to anyone, does it? I mean, I'm not sure what the deal is, if it has to go to Congress or anything first. But obviously, Mark... No? Okay.
He's using that ridiculous, was it the Smoot-Hawley Act, which is, another arcane American law for a country that seems to, promote capitalism. Man, they have a lot of communist kind of laws that allow, the government to control trade and whatever. But all that said, I also find it interesting that the timing of this, like you say, Saturday, okay, if it happens that Trump is, because he is to a certain extent, he does have moments of cunning. If it happens that this is a climb down for Trump than what he's been calling for, what better way to announce it than on a Saturday when there's virtually no real heavy coverage, especially in the States. This is not top of mind. This deal is not top of mind in the U.S. So if he is going to make concessions, maybe that's part of the timing. But once again, am I crediting him with too much Machiavellian skill? Probably. But we won't know. I mean, this is crazy. But we won't know until finally Mark Carney gets around to telling us after. And I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous too, Aaron, because this idea. Well, I'm going to talk, to my cabinet, and I'm going to talk to the premiers first.
Well, yeah, right.
Are you? Yeah, but I mean, is he breaking bad news? I don't know. I hope not. I really hope not. I really hope that this is not an idea of cushioning the blow. And don't forget, by the time it gets around to talking to us, what time is it going to be today? We'll see what happens. But as I say, I'm as at sea as any other expert you've had on the show.
Just to that point, I mean, that's what we understand, right? That his people, Carney's people, are talking. There will be meetings. We heard Christine Frechette herself say she's in contact with her federal counterpart every couple of hours, trying to get brought up to date on what's going on here.
And the other sort of sub-story to all of this as well is don't kid yourself. Every Quebec politician, and I mean every Quebec politician, is going to try and make hay out of it if it doesn't work. Whether it's nationalists, whether it's separatists, whether it's, federalist, regionalist, and autonomist. Right now, given the fact that Mark Carney remains the most popular politician in Quebec, I can think of a long line of how can I put it, well-shod feet waiting to kick him if he should happen to fall.
I did want to point out for people who didn't hear it, we did have a report that came out after we came on the air that multiple sources have told CTV News that reductions in sectoral tariffs, so steel and aluminum, are part of this agreement. That's as much as we know.
And indeed, what are the extent of the reduction,
exactly,
as opposed to, what was the situation before. And this is the problem, especially with trade. And even before Trump, you've got to know not just the backstory, but the backstory before you finally figure out whether this is a good deal or not. Everything's being relative right now. But what I do know, and I hate to put it this way, Canadian markets are not having a very good day today. And I'm wondering how much of that, and indeed, part of the explanation apparently is that a lot of people are not very optimistic about the level of risk that we're about to embark upon. I can't think of anything other than what we're going through right now as being a cause of that. So let's hope that there's a bounce back on that. But right now, today, on its own, not a very great day for Canada's economy, and I really hope that gets turned around by supper time tonight.
Well, hopefully there will be some more details that come forward, although it seems to me from the Canadian perspective, Jim, until those provincial premiers all sort of nod their heads and go along with whatever they're being told right now, we're not going to know much about this for a while, I would think. No,
and the other thing is who's going to grab the microphone first, right?
Yeah.
Because the provincial premiers, believe me, they are great ones when it comes to seizing the main chance. And if someone's going to be angry, if someone thinks they can get some yardage out of being outraged,
you'd have to hope that that's not the case, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd like to hope that's not the case. But really, Aaron, even, oh my God, never mind 10 years ago, even just 5 years ago, who? I mean, and I'll be at the first of the line to say me, but who saw any of this coming? Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, where we are right now, the conversation you and I are having, because we don't know that something as fundamental as trade between our largest trading partner might be dependent on, how many I don't know, how good a day, I'm on the radio, I got to be careful, how good a day Donald Trump had. You know what I mean? It's like, this is where we are right now. It's a terra incognita. It's scary as hell. But the problem is, this is the stage that we're performing on. And who knows how this play is going to end, if it does end.
I would just ask one other thing, and I don't mean to make too much light of this. Did you hear Pierre Poilievre today saying they've offered to help Mark Carney in any way they can, and he basically won't even take his calls?
Well, yeah, but obviously, part of that is some people are saying, well, it's because he doesn't have security clearance, and that may be it. But the very fact that he is making these statements publicly, I respectfully submit, displays something of a lack of political judgment. Don't run around. If you're trying to sort of like tug at heartstrings and say no one's talking to me, that's not a very good look for the leader of the opposition.
By the way, for people who go ahead and play just the beginning of this, Brian, for people who did not hear this, I found this an odd thing for him to do today. First, he's asked the question.
Has the Prime Minister briefed you at all during these negotiations since the threat of Section 338 tariffs?
No. In fact, we're here, and I reiterate my offer. Conservatives have offered to help the Prime Minister since the very beginning. I've done it numerous times in our phone calls. When I went to the United States of America, I very clearly refused to criticize him on foreign soil.
Hold on. Stop right there. Jim, he just said when he went, because we know he met with American, lawmakers, right? Yeah. He's kind of taking it as a pat on the back for not disparaging the Prime Minister in front of him. What is that?
It's someone who I don't think understands what his job description is. It's someone who doesn't understand what his role is. Someone who doesn't get it. Okay, that's the easiest way to describe Pierre Poilievre. Politically, and I don't know the guy personally. Politically, he doesn't get it. He gets it wrong. He can't read a room. He doesn't understand which way the country is going, which is why his numbers continue to suck, which is why, I'll believe it when I see it. They talk about some incipient mutiny perhaps within the ranks of the Conservative Party. Once again, I'll believe it when I see it. But the bottom line here is the guy doesn't get it. And I think for a lot of conservatives, small C conservatives, myself among them, because that's my inclination politically, I would much rather have someone who actually does know what they're doing and is the kind of person who will get a call back from the Prime Minister when you have an issue of such vital national importance as these negotiations.
We will leave it at that, Jim. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. We're coming to get you! One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all. Bryan Adams Radio. I'm coming back to you. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app. Everybody